Hey gals and guys, it's your host Phil Larson, and this is your motivational high five on marriage. Let's do this. Welcome to episode 10, and we have our first guest voices. We have a husband-wife duo, Brandon and Stephanie Matias. So Brandon and Stephanie have this awesome YouTube channel called Modern Marriage Moments. And though they do poke fun at marriage, you can tell they have a bigger purpose in mind. And I like to call this conscious comedy. Over the different places, their videos have been viewed online more than 2.5 million times. They've got a ton of subscribers and a lot of, good people following them. So welcome to the show, viewers of Modern Marriage Moments. Brandon is also a songwriter, and a lot of his stuff has been featured on TV, on shows like American Idol and Duck Dynasty. And Stephanie is currently building a campus recruitment program for a Fortune 500 company. So they are an ambitious couple, and you get to hear from them today. So here they go.
Hey, thanks so much for having us, Phil. Hey, everybody on your motivational high five. How you guys doing? My name's Brandon Matias, and I have my wife here, Stephanie, with me, and together we make up Modern Marriage Moments.
So Modern Marriage Moments is a YouTube channel, and it is aimed at poking fun at the differences between a man and a woman, especially in a marriage setting. The truth is, we're human, which means that we are going to have disagreements in life. But the important thing is that we learn that we're not alone, and that we also learn how to work through these disagreements together. We can hope for a great future as long as we learn from our mistakes, laugh at them, and let them go.
So one thing that Stephanie touched upon was learning from it, laughing at it, and letting it go. That's something our pastor always says, and that's just something, it's obviously a lot easier said than done, but in a marriage, it's just so important. I mean, even the smallest things, like Stephanie and I, for example, when we first moved in together after we got married, Steph would put the cap back on the shaving gel, just barely on, so that every time I would get in the shower, I'd knock into it, it would fall over, and it would just... I would just get so frustrated. I never said anything, and I had to learn how to communicate with Stephanie. Obviously, we can laugh at it now, but just that communication and just saying, hey, something this minuscule is bothering me. And that's something that, you just have to learn together as a couple.
And that's a funny example. That is something, like Brandon said, very trivial. But of course, every marriage, every relationship works through more difficult challenges as well. So when Brandon and I first got married, we went through a period of time where Brandon was really struggling with jealousy. And it was something that was not provoked. Neither of us were engaging in any behavior or activity that would cause him or I to be jealous, but it was just learning how to be in a marriage and care so much for one another, but keeping also that trust and that security in a marriage so that jealousy doesn't creep in.
Yeah, that was definitely something we had to work through. And really, it was mostly me. I just had so much insecurity and just constantly worrying. And you know what? That actually really ended up hurting our relationship until we started working on it together. And one thing that I want to encourage you guys with today is that takes time. This is not an overnight process. I mean, this is life, and life again, doesn't happen overnight. So if you're struggling with that today, just be encouraged. Just take small steps to just learn how to trust and just really have that self-confidence just to take that small step today.
And also that confidence in your relationship and in your spouse as well.
So we just want to encourage you guys today and just let you know that you're not alone. Everybody goes through problems like these. Stephanie and I are constantly working and getting better in our relationship. But that's what life is. Life is a work in progress. It will never be finished. So just keep taking small steps each day to get better and better in your relationships, but also in your life.
What I like about Brandon and Stephanie's relationship is that they're not afraid of open communication. If something's bothering them, even from the little all the way to the other end of the spectrum, the big, they're gonna say it, and then they're gonna work through things together. It is a marriage that invites vulnerability and vulnerability as you taking the initiative to show up and be seen in all your glory and in all your ugly, instead of hinting at it or being passive aggressive or wishing that they would just catch on. Why can't they get it? And on today, this day after Valentine's Day, in our most important relationship that we may ever have, we're choosing to talk about marriage and the benefits of open communication. If you find that you're missing out on open communication with your spouse, I'd like to encourage you to take some risks and to step out and to say something that's bothering you. And hopefully what that'll do, I pray what that'll do, it'll invite them to kind of do the same. If you're new to the show, then maybe this last bit might feel a little different, but we're choosing to rewire our brains, to tell ourselves some better narratives, to combat the negative narratives that have been told and hammered into us. And so how we do that, and as supported by science, is we begin to tell us these good things about ourselves until our brain lights up and begins to rewire. And it's called neuroplasticity. And it's possible to rewire these connections in our brains. We can start believing these positive things about ourselves. So how we've chosen to do that is now, or when you have time at some point, if you will, find a reflection of yourself and look into that mirror or that front-facing camera on your phone and say these things to yourself. Will you today say this thing? I can say the hard thing to my spouse to help foster open communication. And maybe you listen to the whole show and you go, I'm not married, Phil. Well, all this stuff can be applied to the closest relationships in your life. Deciding to show up and be seen. But that's a decision I have to make for myself, and you do too, because it starts with you.